Welcome back to Kuma English Listening Hub. In today's episode, we are going inside a modern workplace that does not feel like a traditional office. There are no strict uniforms, no fixed desks, and often no boss in the room. Yet, people are working seriously on their projects, starting companies, and building careers. We are talking about coworking spaces. For many people, especially freelancers, remote workers, and small business owners, co-working spaces have become a new way to work. In this listening practice, we will explore what they are, why people use them, and how they are changing the idea of an office. As you listen, try to notice useful vocabulary about work, business, and modern lifestyles. You can also practice listening for examples and reasons. Let's begin. Imagine this scene. You walk into a bright, open room. On one side, two designers are quietly working on laptops. Nearby, a programmer is having a video call with a client in another country. At a long table, three people are planning a new app idea on a whiteboard. In the back, next to a small kitchen, a writer is making a coffee. Soft music is playing, and the room feels calm but energetic. This is a typical morning in a co-working space. So, what exactly is a co-working space? A co-working space is a shared office where people from different companies or people who work for themselves come to work in the same place. Instead of working alone at home, they pay a monthly fee or a daily fee to use desks, meeting rooms, internet, and other services. You can think of it as a gym for work. At a gym, you do not own the equipment, but you pay to use it. In a co-working space, you do not own the office, but you pay to use the space, the internet, the printer, and sometimes the coffee. Co-working spaces started to become popular around the late 2000s. At first, they were mostly used by people in technology and creative jobs. But today, you can find people from many different fields: marketing, law, design, education, consulting, and more. Now, let's talk about who uses co-working spaces and why. First, freelancers. A freelancer is a person who works for different clients instead of one company. Freelancers often work on short projects and are paid for each job. They might be writers, translators, graphic designers, web developers, photographers, or social media managers. Many freelancers begin by working from home. At first, this sounds perfect. You can wear comfortable clothes, avoid commuting, and make your own schedule. However, after some time, working from home can become lonely. It can also be difficult to separate work life from home life. The kitchen table becomes a desk. The sofa becomes a meeting room. For these freelancers, a co-working space offers a second option. It gives them a place to go every day or a few times a week where other people are also working. This makes it easier to focus and easier to feel like part of a community. Second, remote workers. Remote workers have regular jobs, but they do not go to a traditional office. Maybe their company is in another city or another country. Or maybe the company decided that everybody should work online from home. After the global pandemic, many companies discovered that remote work was possible. People could do video calls instead of meetings. They could share documents online instead of on paper. But again, working from home all the time is not perfect. Some remote workers miss the social side of an office. They miss quick conversations in the hallway, or asking a colleague a question in person. For them, co-working spaces are a way to mix flexibility with structure. They can choose which days to go to the space and which days to stay home. They can enjoy the quiet of a focused environment and also talk with other people during breaks. Third, small startups and new companies. Imagine three friends who want to start a new business. They have an idea, but they do not have enough money to rent a full office. They do not know how big their team will be in 1 year. Maybe their business will grow quickly. Maybe it will fail. A long-term office contract would be risky. Co-working spaces solve this problem. Many co-working spaces offer flexible plans. A small team can start with a shared desk and later move to a private room inside the same building. They can pay for only as much space as they need. Now, let's look at what co-working spaces usually offer. A typical co-working space has several different areas. There is usually an open space with long tables or shared desks. People can sit where they like, plug in their laptops, and start working. This is often called hot desking. There may also be dedicated desks. These are desks that you can reserve or rent for a longer period. They are usually in a quieter area, and you can leave your monitor or personal things there. Many co-working spaces also include comfortable chairs and good lighting, high-speed internet, meeting rooms with screens for presentations, phone booths or small rooms for private calls, a kitchen area with tea, coffee, and sometimes snacks, printing and scanning services. Some spaces are very simple and basic, while others are quite stylish and modern. In some cities, co-working spaces are located in old factories or warehouses with high ceilings and big windows. In other places, they are in modern office buildings with a clean, minimal design. Now, let's talk about community, which is a very important part of co-working. Many co-working spaces do not just sell desks. They try to build a community. They want people to feel that they are part of something. Not just renting a chair, how do they do this? They organize events such as casual coffee mornings where members can introduce themselves, workshops on topics like marketing, web design, or taxes, talks from guest speakers, such as experienced entrepreneurs, social events after work like game nights or small parties. These events help people to meet each other. For example, a designer might meet a programmer and decide to work together on an app. A writer might meet a photographer and create a project together. A new freelancer might meet an accountant who can help with their business paperwork. In this way, co-working spaces can create networking opportunities. Networking means building relationships that can help your career or business. Of course, not everyone wants to talk all the time. Many people go to co-working spaces because they want a quiet place to focus. Good co-working spaces understand this. They often divide the area into zones. There might be a quiet zone, where people talk very softly or not at all, and a more social zone, where conversations are welcome. This balance between focus and community is one of the main challenges for co-working spaces. If the space is too noisy, people cannot concentrate. If it is too silent, it does not feel friendly. Next, let's discuss the advantages of co-working spaces. One clear advantage is structure. When you work for yourself, it is easy to lose track of time. You might start working late, take long breaks, and finish very late at night. By going to a co-working space, you create a daily routine. You get up, get ready, travel there, and start your work. This can help your productivity and your mental health. Another advantage is separation. When you work from home, it can be hard to stop working. Your laptop is always there, and your mind is always half at work. In a co-working space, you can physically leave your work behind at the end of the day. When you go home, you are really finished. There is also the advantage of motivation. Many people feel more motivated when they are surrounded by others who are working. If you see people typing, planning, designing, and making phone calls, you feel like working too. This effect is sometimes called social pressure, but in this case, it can be positive. A co-working space can also save money. Instead of paying for your own office, cleaning, internet, electricity, and furniture, you pay one fee, and the space provides everything. For a new business, this can be much cheaper than renting a private office. Now, what about disadvantages? One disadvantage is cost. Even though co-working spaces are cheaper than traditional offices, they are still not free. For some freelancers, especially in cheaper countries, the monthly fee can be too high. They might choose to work from home or from cafes instead. Another disadvantage is control. You cannot control everything in a shared space. Maybe someone in front of you is talking loudly on the phone. Maybe someone near you is eating food with a strong smell. Maybe the music is not your style. Good co-working spaces have rules to reduce these problems, but they cannot remove them completely. Privacy can also be a concern. If you are working on very private information, like financial details or legal documents, you might feel uncomfortable in an open space. In that case, you may need to use a private room or choose another solution. Also, some people simply prefer to work alone. They feel more creative or more comfortable at home. For them, co-working might not be a good match. Now, let's look at some interesting variations of co-working spaces. Not all co-working spaces are the same. Some focus on certain groups of people or special themes. For example, some co-working spaces are designed especially for artists and makers. They include not only desks, but also workshops with tools, 3D printers, or sewing machines. Others focus on social impact. They welcome people who are working on projects that help society, such as education, health, or the environment. They may organize talks about social issues and create chances for collaboration. There are also spaces that target parents. They offer co-working areas for adults and safe play areas for children in the same building. In this way, parents can work while their children are nearby and supervised. In some cities, there are co-living and co-working spaces combined. People not only work together but also live in the same building, share a kitchen, and join activities in the evenings. Now, let's think about how co-working spaces are changing the idea of a career. In the past, many people imagined a career like this. You finish school or university. You find a job in a company. You go to the same office every day. You stay there for many years, maybe even your whole life. Today, for many people, this picture is very different. Some people have several jobs at the same time. They might work part-time for a company, do freelance projects on the side, and study online. Others may change jobs or even careers many times. Co-working spaces fit this new, flexible style of work. They are flexible in terms of time, location, and community. You can rent a desk for a day, a month, or longer. You can travel to another city and use a partner co-working space there. You can meet people from many different professions. For language learners like you, this is interesting too. Many co-working spaces are international. You may hear English, Spanish, Japanese, French, and many other languages in one place. If you work in such a space in the future, you might need English to talk with clients, partners, or other members. So, how can this listening help your English learning? First, it gives you vocabulary for talking about modern work, such as freelancer, remote worker, startup, networking, and community. Second, it trains you to listen for structure. Notice how we move from a general description to who uses co-working spaces, to advantages, disadvantages, and future trends. This structure is useful when you describe something in speaking or writing. Third, it can be a topic for discussion or writing practice. You can ask yourself questions like, would I like to work in a co-working space? Why or why not? What are the advantages compared to working at home in my country? Do I know any places like this in my city? You can also try to summarize this episode in your own words. This is excellent practice for exams and for real conversations. Before we finish, let's do a short review. Co-working spaces are shared offices where people from different jobs and companies work together in one place. They are popular with freelancers, remote workers, and small startups. They usually offer desks, internet, meeting rooms, and a community of other workers. The main advantages are structure, separation between work and home, motivation, and lower costs than a private office. The main disadvantages are cost for some people, less control over noise and environment, and possible privacy issues. There are many kinds of co-working spaces, including ones for artists, social entrepreneurs, parents, and even co-living communities. They are part of a larger change in how we think about work, careers, and offices. As English learners at a B2 level, you can use this topic to learn vocabulary, understand modern work culture, and practice expressing opinions. To go deeper, try these activities after listening. Pause the audio and write down 5 new words or phrases you learned. Then, write 1 example sentence for each. Imagine you are designing your perfect co-working space. Describe it in English. Where is it? Who uses it? What special features does it have? Finally, find a friend or language partner and discuss this question. Do you think more people will use co-working spaces in the future? Or will most people go back to traditional offices? That brings us to the end of today's episode of Kuma English Listening Hub. Thank you for listening and keep practicing your English every day. See you in the next episode.